Hello and welcome to our Reboot review. I'm Paul,
And I'm Dave.
and this week we are discussing Episode 8, Enzo the Smart. This episode originally aired December 17th, 1994 in Canada, and February 11th, 1995 in the US. Again, why? I have no idea, but that is not for us to ponder right now.
Mm.
So, number one film at the box office, Dave. Any ideas? December of 94.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if that one other movie from last week would have managed to stick it in place. But I'm not sure if.
I'll give you a hint. It's been overtaken by something slightly more successful.
Not surprising, though it's a case of what would be more successful, supposedly. Again, with around that time frame.
It's 94, so it's probably. I'll give you a hint. It's 94. It's a Jim Carrey movie.
Okay, that does narrow it down. But it's between two things, so I'm not too sure. I'll possibly go with the biggest net and say it's one of the Ace Ventura movies.
Oh, unfortunately, it is not one of the Ace Ventura movies.
Sadness.
It is a little. Although you're in the right year, I'll give you that because that was February of '94.
Uh,
But it is Dumb and Dumber.
It was that one. It was between the two and is like, go for the one that has kind of lasted the longest. Though, in both cases, it's kind of a case of they both kind of have their wheelhouses in most cases. But Ventura got the sequels, and Dumb and Dumber just kind of got the typical sort of thing of the time.
Well, Dumb and Dumber did get sequels. It just took a while.
Okay. Because it was also one of the ones that got a cartoon series.
It did get a cartoon series, but it did get a sequel, a prequel, sorry, in 2003, and then a sequel in 2014. Do you remember
Yeah, it just
either of
kind of
these?
took a while when Ace Ventura was a little bit more speedy to those ones.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like Jim Carrey, so I think I've seen Dumb and Dumber, but yeah, it's just not my jam.
Be surprised. And out of the particular work, it's kind of one of the more praised for his kind of zanier characters and whatnot from there.
Oh no, I take it back. There is one Jim Carrey movie I like, but it is not one of his traditional kind of like comedy movies.
It's understandable. There's the couple of dramas and whatnot that he has done.
I don't know if you've seen it, but if anybody hasn't seen it, go watch it. It's a great movie called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yes.
It's a great movie.
I'm trying to remember, but I'm not sure if it's a case of I've seen it or it's a case of I've just seen a bunch of clips from the movie.
It's very good. Anyway,
Mm.
number one song in America this week, Dave. It has changed.
Oh my gosh, Boys the Men has finally been dethroned?
They have temporarily.
The only question is by who? Hmm. The thoughts linger. But again, it's kind of the case of young child. The only thing I can vaguely remember either supposedly hearing or whatnot was the typical child bops and other sorts of things at the time. Not sure if it would be Britney Spears at the moment.
No, I feel like that's a couple of years away.
Yeah, still with that. And even that with even the boy bands and whatnot, I don't think it's quite to that point yet.
No, I'll give you a hint if you want. It is a hip hop slash reggae fusion song.
The only one thing that's coming to mind is the dangerous particular thing to touch, but I'll say it anyway. Is it supposedly Mambo number five?
No, no, it is not. I believe that's still a ways away as well. It is
Right.
here. It is "Here Comes the Hot Stepper" by, oh, I'm gonna butcher this, uh, Ini Kamoze. I probably mispronounced that, but
Eh. And I'm not surprised. It's one of those things that as soon as you start playing the first couple bars, it's like, oh dear God, this song. But any of the names or whatnot is just complete gibberish in my mind.
fair enough. So we move on to the episode.
Enzo episode. Paul's brain clapping hooray.
Okay, so Enzo decides he wants to make himself smarter because he doesn't help them win a game against the user because he's an idiot.
Yes. Well, kind of the typical child concepts of how things can go.
Yeah, so he tries to put this massive cannonball in this cannon and then doesn't have enough like gunpowder to fire it and it just kind of rolls out. And then
Yeah.
Bob sends this little rocket over and like blows up the user's tower because the user's an idiot and didn't protect their like TNT.
Yes.
So he's all like depressed because he's not as smart as Bob. And he goes to Fong and he loses Fong's game. But Fong's like, hey, I'll still help you out. You can hang out in here and read me files on this like computer deal. And then Fong's like, look, whatever you do, just don't touch anything, and then leave through this door when you're done, and don't screw everybody over. Which, of course, excuse me, which of course Enzo does because he decides like, oh, I'm going to make myself super smart, which turns everyone else into like 8-bit morons, and then they get sucked into a track and field game where the fate of mainframe is on Enzo's shoulders.
But,
And Enzo eventually comes up with a plan to win the final race and does win, but I just wish we wouldn't focus on Enzo so much because he's so annoying. What did you think of this episode, Dave?
well, child characters. They're fairly annoying and can be a bit of an issue, but there's just that unlimited potential that they possess.
No, I think Enzo's potential is very limited. I do want to get into a couple of fun references in this, though.
Okay.
In the read only room, there is a statue with a desk lamp on it that looks
Mhm.
like Luxo Jr., the logo for Pixar,
Yes, yes.
which I loved that. Also, one of the times we see the user in the track and field game, they're wearing the same outfit as Bruce Lee in Game of Death.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Game of Death?
Yes, I've seen bit of the referencing and whatnot from that particular movie, and as well as a couple of the popular scenes. Don't believe it's one I've actually had the enjoyment to watch,
Ah,
at least
okay,
from memory.
okay. Um, I remember it being kind of disappointing because it was never completed properly
Mm,
before Bruce Lee passed. Um,
mhm.
if you're gonna watch a Bruce Lee movie, just watch Enter the Dragon because Enter the Dragon's great.
Man,
But what did you think of this episode, Dave?
it's always interesting. Again, with knowing of the series and coming back to it, there's the one or two things that I know of from future episodes that are introduced in earlier episodes. And it's cases of seeing certain things that's like, oh, this is the place, and then this is the other thing. But again, tricks and particular things from that. But also, it's a bit of the case of the window that Enzo is getting all of his information from that Fong showed him. Also, kind of asks him, is it that you want to get smarter? How is it that you wish to do that? It's like, could I do it quickly? It's like, well, I could send you to this particular room to increase your speed. It's like, could you show me the way? And of course, being a computer, it does as it asks. So, children with computers can be dangerous.
Yes, yeah, fair enough. I do appreciate one thing with that where they kind of they the show kind of sometimes it's really clever with the way it does computer stuff, and other times it's like they don't know what they're talking about. I do appreciate the like, oh, we're going to increase your clock speed. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's kind of a fun little reference.
Mm-hmm. like all the specifics and other particular things from there. And there's just a part of my brain that had the mild joy of seeing characters in completely different situations. The marvelous reversal of Bob tackling Enzo instead of the reverse.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Yeah, as much as I dislike Enzo as a character, I feel like this is better than the previous Enzo centric episode.
Okay.
He
It
wasn't.
hasn't quite kind of turned you to enjoying Enzo as a character in comparison to other sort of shows of the like. Like, I think the one particular interesting question is what would supposedly either have to happen or would he have to do for you to be either interested in his character or be a bit more turned around to enjoying his antics in comparison to how he is now?
I don't know. I don't know if there's like a specific. It's just like just write him to not be annoying. And I know he's supposed
Yeah.
to be a child, and I know the show's aimed at children, and they want somebody that children can identify with. But like, can we just not make him annoying?
Yeah, that's always a bit of the trick. Though, I suppose the one thing I shall tell you is characters within this particular series do not stay stagnant.
Well, hopefully Enzo becomes less annoying.
Yes.
But like I said, this one's better than the previous Enzo centric episode, which I really hated.
Yeah. It had the couple particular moments and the one or two things to allude and sort of show off more characters within the entire series, but placing it within a Enzo centric episode, I can understand there's the couple of issues that might cause.
Yeah, I take it you enjoyed the episode though.
With this one, it had its particular moments, but it would probably be a little bit on the lower end. It's one of those particular things that it's an interesting enough idea to mix with the world as well as work Enzo in as one of the characters, but also it probably wouldn't have hurt if this episode did not exist.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so the way they make everything look 8-bit is just to put this really ugly filter on the screen,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
hated that.
It's like my eyes are gonna be in so much pain.
I'm like, I know they couldn't, like, probably financially and time wise they couldn't, but I really wish they would have done like an 8-bit version of mainframe.
It definitely would have been interesting to see.
Like, even if they had cheated and done like a 16-bit, like a Super Nintendo version, that would have been cool. Just
And
like
quite
the,
honestly, that probably would have been better for visual design.
yeah,
Um, Again, with the couple things that I've been looking into, uh, designs of older style games with that are much more expressive and could get specific things across. Where 8-bit has like one or two motions that you could supposedly create, which could supposedly mean 16 different things. So 16 would have an easier time actually expressing a story than 8-bit would.
yeah, no, totally, absolutely. But I kind of wish they had done that. I know it's probably not like possibly possible, especially at the time, due to
Mm.
like budget and the amount of time they would have had to put the episodes out. But I'm still kind of like that would have been really cool. So, do you have anything else about this episode, Dave?
Not so much with this episode. It seems fairly good, but it is mostly the case of I am stupidly excited for the next episode.
Alrighty, so the next episode is Wizards, Warriors, and a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Oh, I'm scared. Bob Dot and Enzo are stuck in a role playing game with Mike the TV, oh dear God, where all in one and one and all has the key. I'm assuming that's a new character we're meeting.
With the case of Mike the TV, no, we've seen him one or two
No,
times.
where it says where all in one and one and all has the key. I'm assuming all in one and one and all is another character.
I'll leave that as a surprise for you.
Oh no. Alrighty, well, I'm a little worried because Mike the TV's. Actually, I don't mind Mike the TV.
Mike the TV within its particular doses is usually a always fun experience. Though I question whether or not you may be able to survive an entire episode with him.
Yeah, he does feel like the kind of character I'll enjoy in small doses. But we shall find out next time. Until then, I'm Paul.
And I'm Dave.